Hello my dear students, my name is Dr. Jahnabi Das, Assistant Professor from the Department of Physiotherapy, School of Allied Medical Sciences. So today I will be discussing with you about the electrotherapy series, superficial heating modality in physiotherapy. So as we know superficial heating modality, first we need to know about the effect of heat. So under effect of heat, these all are the things happen basically. This is a hemodynamic, neurological effect, neurovascular effect and also metabolic effect and tissue extendability. So under hemodynamic effect you can see, or you can hemodynamic effect basically it is the nature which is similarly it is quite equal, or you can say the things like such as vasodilatation and the muscle which basically relaxing and inflammation. So this is basically the hemodynamic effect and neuromuscular effect. Under neuromuscular effect you can see, or you can see the increase of NCV, which is basically nerve conduction velocity, and also increase pain threshold and change the muscle strength. And in metabolic effect basically increase the metabolic rate inside the human body. And the tissue extendability, under tissue extendability, so what happened, that increase the tissue extendability. So next comes to the indication and use of heat therapy. So under indication means what is the use for using the heat therapy. So generally for any kind of chronic process or any kind of conditions such as you can say any kind of pain related issues and muscle spasm and any kind of joint stiffness, this is mostly important. And also for contraction you can use heat therapy. So let's comes to the contraindication. Under contraindication means contraindication where we cannot use heat therapy basically, which is contraindicated the condition such as ischemia, hemorrhage, impaired sensation where sensation is lost, and then inability to communicate with the response of pain, for example any kind of psychological issues such as dementia and malignancy. If we give heat therapy over a malignant tissue, what happen, it will increase the growth of the tumor and acute tumor and any kind of inflammation which is contraindicated for heat. And basically the scar tissue, for the scar tissue what happened, because of heat therapy it is evaluation of the temperature which basically increase the metabolic demand for the tissues, which is contraindicated. And the scar tissue is basically adequate vascular applied for that supply for that, not to able to adequate the vascular response which is basically produced by heat. So which can be lead to necrosis or ischemic necrosis. And last but not the least, the poor thermal regulation. The person or the immunity has a poor thermal regulation, that will be for a contraindication for heat therapy. Next we need to know the mechanism of energy, which is basically the heat transfer to the body. So under heat transfer to the body, such things out there such as conduction, convection, conversion, radiation and evaporation. Conduction, under conduction what happen, basically the transfer of heat through the direct contact between the hotter and the colder area. So basically what happen, that two object which basically touching each other, one might be, suppose the one hotter object is contact with the cooler object or the cooler area, so that is your conduction. And convection, convection is basically the heat transfer by the movement in a medium such as any kind of air or any kind of liquid, which basically a region which is unequal in temperature, which is convection. And conversion, under conversion what happened, the energy changes from the one to another, does it basically superficially heat or cold, what happened, the energy changes to one and another. And the last and not the least, the radiation and the evaporation. Under radiation what happened, basically the emitted surfaces from the temperature which is basically goes to the absolute zero, that means where the transfer of energy basically without the use of the any kind of medium, where no medium out there, that is your radiation. And evaporation. Evaporation basically change the liquid state, basically you can say that gaseous state to a thermal energy, requiring thermal energy to remove from the body. So, these all are the mechanical effect. So, under the mechanical effect you need to know the temperature which is related to your therapeutic heat. So, therapeutic heat is basically from 40 degree to Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius, and if the heat effect is more 45 degrees Celsius, which leads to tissue damage, and if it is lesser than 40 degrees Celsius, there will be a mild heating. So, conductive heat and heat agents. So, conductive heat agents such as hot packs and superficial heat or any kind of stored thermostatically control the cabinet water inside the temperature around 71.1 degrees Celsius and wrapped in a towel before the application. And also between the treatment, the pack has to be returned into a completely immersed in a hot area for 30 minutes. Then it basically comes in a different size. So, basically hot pack is a what? You can say hydrocollateral pack. So, what happened in the hydrocollateral pack? It is basically a superficial heating modalities, which basically useful for any kind of muscle spasm or any kind of stiffness, any kind of contracture you can say. So, for each hot pack it has a different size and shape out there. As you can see, these all are the hot packs. Let's comes to the paraffin wax. This is also a type of superficial heating modalities. So, where paraffin is a kind of modalities where is a some wax is melted, which basically a melting point is there. For that 45 degrees Celsius, 45.5 degrees Celsius stayed in a liquid temperature more than 47.8 degrees Celsius when mixed with a mineral oil, which is 6:1 and 7:1 ratio pattern of paraffin to the oil. And there are different types of methods of application for paraffin wax, such as toweling method, dipping method, then direct pouring method and the immersion method. These four are basically the main methods of application for paraffin wax. So, connective heating or connective tissue heating. So, basically this is a fluidotherapy, you can say. It basically dry the heat and transfer energy through the forced convection. So, what happened basically by fluidotherapy is basically a connective heating, where the warm air is through a container holding the fine cellulose particles. So, this is the modalities. You can see the fluidotherapy. It basically treats 2 hand or 2 feet, which basically unit can be removed from the stand for the easier lower way extremities for application. So, it basically it can use for both upper and lower limb. So, radiating heat. So, radiating heat is basically, so it is coming from the heat coming from the any kind of radiation, such as here infrared lamp, which basically infrared lamp is basically increase the infrared energy, which basically causing the molecular motion in cooler object, which increase and it basically increase the heat over the particular area. So, this is the infrared ray. So, that is all. Thank you.